Hello, this is the Digital Loop Season 3, Episode 3. Hello, Ivan.
Hi, Paul. And yes, we are here at LeWeb in Paris.
As you can see, we booked ourselves a conference room, which is where you see some stuff at the back there. That's our actually lunch, because it's lunchtime here. It's the second day of the web. So how is it so far for you?
It has been a fantastic experience. We had so many fantastic speakers. Today, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the World Wide Web.
And you actually asked a question to him live, right?
Yeah, I got to see myself on a big screen at the web. That was really cool.
So what did you ask him? Because I was backstage. I was not actually listening entirely to the thing because, as you know, guys, I'm actually the co-host of the web. So I'm always backstage, kind of listening, but not always. He's just next to the stage as an official blogger. He's been tweeting all through the event. If you follow him at Ivan Hernandez _ you'll find all these tweets. I mean, most of them were retweeted by our account at the Digital Loop. Some stuff will be also appearing on the Facebook page. But so, what did you ask him? How did he respond?
Yeah, I mean, I basically asked him the question that he has had such a huge impact in humanity and everything that he has done. I mean, it's very difficult to understand and to comprehend the level of impact that this guy has. He invented the World Wide Web. So I asked him, based on that, what drives you? What makes you keep moving forward? And he just looked at us like, because we are so not done. I mean, there is so much stuff that we need to do. There is a lot of stuff that I wanted to get done back in 1989 that I couldn't do then. But today, thanks to the new advances in technology, I can do it. So that's what drives me. I thought it was a fantastic answer.
So what drives LeWeb, though, is so we had a first day. So after Loic and Geraldine opened the show, we had many already awesome speakers, and we're already halfway through the conference. What were the ones that actually stood out for you?
Well, I really like the first reunion breakfast on stage. With Fred Wilson. It was really interesting because last year he spoke here at LeWeb, and he gave his view of the trends that he will see in the next 10 years. And this year was not so much the trends, but basically, his feeling about what is the direction that we're going, kind of complementing to what he talked about last year. He mentioned the impact of the sector that is really interesting right now for investors is healthcare and wellness, and based on that, it's really interesting to see that today, the second day, there was an entire block focus on the impact of digital and on healthcare and wellness. So I guess he's on the right track if we're going there.
Yeah, healthcare was actually a topic that was mentioned many times actually yesterday. So as you may have heard in the last show, if you follow the web live, because actually it's live online as well, you can follow all the sessions online. There are curators, and so Jeff Clavier, who works at Softec, is a VC in the Bay Area. He was curating that healthcare pack. It was really very interesting, and I really encourage you to look at the videos. The videos are on YouTube at the channel, on the web channel. They go very fast online. So a few hours after the speaker was on, the videos are already available. I encourage you to look at this healthcare one. So after this breakfast, because it was actually a breakfast. They had a small table, orange juice. They had like some croissant, Parisian style, right? After there was this breakfast, there was Jeremiah came on stage. Jeremiah Haoyang. We had him on the show 2 seasons ago about you talked about the collaborative economy. He just released his new, he called it the honeycombs. It's a diagram, it's an infographic that explains the ecosystem of the collaborative economy or the sharing economy. It's a very useful graphic for anyone who's interested in it, and we will actually share it in the reference of this show. But if you just go and on webstrategist.com, web-strategist.com, which is Jeremiah's blog, you'll find it as well. It's actually very interesting. Did you follow the whole session? Because he also had some people with him on stage.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning he showed the new version of the honeycomb, and afterwards he had a panel discussion with the executives from Lyft, Airbnb, and BlaBlaCar, and it was very interesting to see as the different points of viewing how the collaborative economy is actually driving the whole economy. So I think it's fascinating. If you have the opportunity, check out the video as well. After that session, there was the session on wearable computing. The session was curated by James, I'm going to say his name, McQuivy. from Forrester Research. And it was very interesting because they had an entire session focused on wearables. And one of the quotes that I tweeted about it, and it has been retweeted hundreds of times, is that wearables is not about the device, but it's about the cloud information being driven to the cloud, analyze, and giving back valuable feedback. And I thought that was very interesting for people to understand that it's not about the device, it's not about the bracelet, it's not about all the things that we can put on ourselves, but it's about the impact that these devices could have in our decision-making process. So I think that was very interesting.
I will add, because part of the discussion was about, I don't remember the exact quote. I actually quoted it on Twitter, but it was like a lot of people still think wearables are like as disposables, because usually we buy something with like a Fitbit or Nike Plus and all these new devices are coming up, and you use it for 2-3 weeks and then you stop using it. Actually, I don't wear my Fitbit anymore. I still use it on my phone actually, but the point is that there is still a long way to go before these technologies are adopted, not only by early adopters, but also that they become sticky. Obviously, the Apple Watch that will come out next year might change the game a bit. Although it was interesting that Fred Wilson, in his first intervention in the morning, said that he didn't believe, or at least he wasn't convinced, that the Apple Watch would have such an impact as the iPhone or the iPad had in the past. So I mean, we'll see. It's an interesting. It was a very interesting track as well. Then, because we're not going to go through all the tracks, obviously, you can follow that. It's simply by going to the LeWeb website, leweb.co. Another standout for me was Phil LeBounce. It's a tradition at LeWeb every year. Phil, so he's the CEO of Evernote. I'm a huge fan of Evernote. You must have known that since if you follow us at the Digital Loop. Is a tradition. He comes every year and he updates what he thinks about major trends, but also about Evernote, where they're going, whether it's about the company culture, the product, services, etc. And he had a great quote. So there's a lot of quotes in his talk. He was in a fireside chat, so with Loic Lemer, and he talked about how files are stupid, documents are stupid, desktop are stupid. We have to go beyond that. Obviously, being Evernote, it's only natural he would say it. But it was a very interesting twist, because it's true that when you think about either productivity or even memory, simply taking notes, we have still to somehow carve our minds around the file. We have a file system, and that we need all these. We need to adapt our way to the computer's way of talking. Whereas you were saying we should be able to go beyond that, have a lot more context. Evernote has added a lot of contextual features that are very interesting. Not only, so if you put a note, you'll be able to find all the notes that are related to it, but also now they have external sources as well. So if you, let's put it, you quote articles, and that's how you save your articles. Evernote will look for other sources, other related articles. So it becomes like a real powerhouse of not only your memories, but a lot of context around it. You should actually try it out. I mean, for those, and I know here I'm just evangelizing Evernote, but the interesting part is, for a long time I was a premium user and I wasn't using it that much. And it's actually when you start putting a lot of stuff inside that it becomes very powerful, because it adds all this context for you. So, and he thinks, to come back to his intervention, he thinks that this is a bit where computing is going. Whereas he said he doesn't like the word artificial intelligence. He said he prefers the word augmented intelligence. Again, in what I just said, meaning how these tools enable us to actually have more context, better features. To be, I even think he uses the word Superman. It helps us actually be better than we are, because we have all these tools at our disposal. Ivan, what's next?
Yeah, right after Phil, there was a discussion panel between Kevin Rose and Tony Conrad. Tony Conrad is a good friend. We have shared. I had the opportunity to share the stage with him at Spark Me and Webit. He's a great guy, and it was great to see him on stage together with Kevin Rose, who I'm a huge fan of his podcast Foundation. Check it out; it's really good. And they talk a lot about different things. They spoke about how Kevin Rose has, he was part of Google Ventures for a long time. Now he's still there, but just part-time, and he went back to building applications and building a new business. And it's really, I would say, inspiring, because they mentioned on stage that in the past, not very long time, they have built 2 or 3 world-class apps, and they are just like 5 people with very limited resources, and they are really creating really interesting stuff. And Kevin Rowe's argument was the fact that says, like, most of the companies right now are being overvalued. I rather go and build stuff, which I thought was really, really cool and inspiring.
Yeah, before I let you, it's true you mentioned overvalued. That's also a hot topic. A lot of startup tracks are happening today, so we're still in the middle of it. There was one this morning about Europe. There'll be more tomorrow. There will be one centered about, for instance, how Berlin is becoming the kind of a center for startups in Europe. But this valuation thing comes up very often, and I think it's always a fascinating discussion. You have a lot of contradictory opinions. I believe that actually simply that it's not because, I mean, we can think the valuations might be crazy. That's possible. The actual thing, I believe, is that simply investors look for value. The rounds are becoming longer, so before you have any road to either an IPO and an exit. So we have a lot of money, longer rounds. Companies still take time to scale. Obviously, it adds up more and more money. I'm not saying that it explains everything, but I think it also explains that it's the word crazy is in the eye of the beholder. I think there was a track, I don't know if you want to mention it afterwards, about extreme sports, because I know you like your extreme sports, so maybe you want to mention it. I didn't, to be very honest, I didn't listen to it, so maybe you have something. Oh yeah, well, there you go. So we'll just encourage you to look at it online. What were the other standouts for you on the first day? Anything else you want to mention?
Well, first day was very interesting. Ben Ho, I don't know, that's Ben Ho. Ben Ho.
No, but just don't overdo it.
Ben Ho from Cheeseburger was talking about content, and he was talking about content and formats, the different, if you want to build a great media company, you need to create great content. But if you want to build a media empire, you need to own a format. I thought that was a very interesting point and very thought-provoking in the audience. And he showed a very interesting what's the name of it? Lolcat from 1905. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have lolcats since 1905.
Yeah, and after that there was I had to mention Digital Loop on stage when I was doing my co-hosting at that point, because Cédric Ingrand was so he's a very famous broadcaster here in France. Works in a major TV channel here. I did many interviews with him in the past, especially in Japan. And he's the one we actually encourages to actually have better microphones for the show. You can see, for those who are watching the show today, I have a portable microphone. It's actually very red, as you can see, if you look at it on YouTube. So, and he was doing a track also like on new media, how media is transforming and being changed. Part of the discussion was actually talking about podcasts. So what we're doing here, it was also interesting that we mentioned SoundCloud, which is where we actually host our show as well. So we seem to be doing something right, I guess, if Cédric Ingrand says so. Then we move to e-commerce with Roxane Varza. She works as a startup lead at Microsoft here in Paris. There was also a fascinating track about how e-commerce is changing, how consuming stuff is changing, how we buy things, how we discover things. This is an area that I love. I talk about it with a lot. This is my advisory part of my job. And then maybe let's move to day 2. If there's anything you want to mention about this morning, or
well, as we mentioned earlier, this morning there was a big focus on healthcare and about the impact of digital in healthcare. And it would be very difficult to go through everything, because there were like something like 5 or 6 talks, and all of them really, like deep into different topics connected with different applications, healthcare for women, bacteria. There's so many things that I think that the best will be for you guys to check it out on the videos at LeWeb, because we're not going to do justice to the great content that they had over there. And afterwards we had Sir Tim Berners-Lee, who had a fantastic conversation with Loic. I find really fascinating to see, to meet somebody that has such a huge impact on everybody. And he's just, yeah, well, like Loic asked him, why do you invented the web? And he's like, well, we had a problem. Computers were not talking to each other.
That's simple.
Yeah, that's simple.
So anyway, many other talks are coming up. I'm looking forward. There's the CEO. That's the latest edition because I have access to the latest editions. We go to see him backstage. The CEO of Rakuten from Japan is coming up this afternoon. Mikitani-san. It'll be around 4-ish this afternoon. You'll just check the schedule or be sure to watch live and or the videos afterwards. So many other talks. We'll probably talk a bit more about LeWeb next week edition of this show, because obviously we have a lot more to discover. There's lots of content. We could go on for hours, but we don't want to bore you. And it's true that we also have this high of the excitement of being here. There's a lot of other stuff going around the LeWeb as well. So the social activities at night. You can look at my face for those who are watching YouTube that I didn't sleep that much last night, by the way. As for me, I'll be on stage again this afternoon. Ivan is seated right next to the stage on the left side. If you want to say hi to him, just go and say hi. And other than that, I mean, I think for both of us, it's the last conference of the year, right?
Yeah, that's correct. It has been a very, very, very busy year for both of us. We have traveled, separated to many countries, and together, actually, we had the opportunity to be together in Lebanon, in Poland, now here in Paris. So it has been a fantastic year, and well, we're gonna continue our rounding up our experience here at LeWeb on the next week's show. And I guess for now, that's it.
Yeah, I just finished. I just want to say it for both of us. We want to thank Geraldine and Loic, who are the two co-founders of this event, the whole team behind it. I'm working with that team, and I want to say, because I always say it to them, but not in public. I rarely have the occasion. So the team behind the LeWeb that you don't see backstage are just amazing people. I'm having a lot of fun just being with them. So we want to thank them, because that's the reason we have such a high quality event. We feel very honored, both of us, to be attending and participating in this. And as Ivan just said, I mean, we'll meet each other again next week. Right, Ivan?
Right.
Guys, bye-bye. Have a good time. Godspeed. Bye.